My name is Ashton. Anthony Lawson was my father. I speak to you now bearing news of his passing on the 8th of January this year due to colon cancer, so this will be the last video on his channel. So much has changed since the time of my dad's first videos. I'd like to say the change has been good, and some of it has been, but there's still far too much wrong with the world. Many advancements in world politics and policies may be a step in the right direction, but there will be huge discrepancies between what is said and what is done. Corruption, greed, and its resulting violence is everywhere, and if history has taught us anything, this will likely not change. The major problem with history, though, is that it is often written by the winners, resulting in a completely one-sided account of past events designed to paint the victors in a patriotic, righteous light, with the losers as evil monsters, indeed in line with any given propaganda at the time. Much like a fight between two school children that just got broken up, neither child's explanation is usually accurate, often having twisted the story in favor of themselves, which is why we tend to believe a little bit of both, in an attempt to be fair. Problem comes when one of the children is honest. We will still believe a little bit of both, and thus there lies injustice. I was told once by a good friend that when I was young, I didn't take injustice well. I can say then that this came from my father, as his stories from his youth and indeed of his life would often be rooted in attempted fairness and eventual lack thereof from acquaintances, colleagues, sometimes even friends. People who play by the rules are always a step behind those who bend and eventually break them, and if there's no means with which to challenge said offenders on a fair playing field, nothing can be done. This is one of the many problems with the world as we know it, but tragically, it's also normal. Even more tragic, we seem to accept it as being normal. Corruption, greed, and its resulting violence placed on the world stage loosely disguised as fairness, justice, and its resulting righteousness. I say loosely disguised because it's all so easy to see, but so many people seem to be blind. But then, I don't think people are blind. We don't say someone is blind because they refuse to open their eyes. People are not deaf because they refuse to uncover their ears. Yet many who do hear, who do see, who know that everything is wrong, still don't do anything about it, thinking they can't change it. I'm so lucky to be able to say that my dad was one of the people who did try, and if he was still with us today, he would still be trying. He grew up in an age where radio was the pinnacle of electronic engineering, and information came by way of letters, books, and radio transmission, all one-dimensional and unknowingly biased. I'm sure his progression into commercial directing and production let him see how we can represent things in favorable lights, and how we can morph people's perceptions by use of clever lighting, clever sound, music, and writing, to entice people to purchase a product, favor a product, and passionately defend a product against its competitors. But it doesn't just have to be a product. It can be an abstract concept, a law, a policy, a single decision. A decision that can lead to thousands, tens of thousands of deaths, guilty or innocent, with no trial. Many so-called civilized countries and their societies have shunned the death penalty since the chances of actually killing someone innocent is too high. Often where I live, we'll hear an ambulance, and it's always a bittersweet sound because it means someone's hurt, maybe even dying, but it's so uplifting to see all the cars and motorcycles on the road shift out of the way to let the ambulance through, and perhaps save someone. This is something that can be seen in almost any place in the world. It shows that we have compassion within us all. We have an underlying sense of what is right and what is wrong, regardless of our country, our culture, our religion or lack thereof, and we all know that bringing death upon another is wrong. But somehow, those in power convince the many to do so en masse on the battlefield, and when the ambulances are too few, and the hospitals are over capacity, why not destroy those too? The age in which we are now, the age in which my dad died, has the most potential to wake up the world. The internet allows so many different sides of a story to be told, No need for a single reporter to go out and find it. People can just post it online and share through social media. Every story can be told, biased or unbiased. And for those willing to sift through all the information, a great deal of understanding can be achieved. No decision should ever be based on a black and white representation, and those willing to do the research can start to paint in grayscale, and eventually in color. I would like to think that my dad was one of those people, painting in color. The sad part is that the most dominant color in the palette of our world would be a deep, bloody red. In memory of my loving father, Anthony Charles Ashton Lawson, this is the last video to be uploaded to his channel. The only thing I ask of you, the only thing my father would ask of you, is to open your eyes and help others open theirs too. And if you don't like what you see, we hope you'll do something to change it.